Alright, so I'm going to make a video showing how to finish this battery tray off for the bike. It's a little easier than typing it all out. So there's the side view of the thing now with the two batteries on the top, 3 on the bottom with the offset. You look at it from an angle, you can see the little tube pieces they're in columns like so. This one here and this one here, we get one piece of threaded rod bolting it together. Same with this one and this one here. And there's 3 on the bottom row and 2 on the top row per side. It would have them on these sides as well, because it's got to lock the front and back together. The little gussets right here stand the upper pack off of the lower pack to give you that space for battery lugs in there. Look at it from the side. So that's what it looked like from the side of the motorcycle. You might have to flip this whole unit around so it would look like this towards the front. This would still be the front to make room for the tire. I'm not sure yet. You have to play with that, see how it fits. You can see the pivot point in the lower mounting rail there. That'll get tied in to this bolt hole right there and there. That's the one we talked about with the long rod straight through. That's where it pivots on. So slip a temporary 8mm bolt through there, the threaded rod, and then put some spacers, put that on there, put some spacers to prop this up so it's level, so you got something to work off of. And then sit the lower tray in place and the upper tray and align everything before you weld these 2 rails onto this lower tray right here. So once you get that all in place, this upper battery will end up underneath the gas tank inside the frame. So it'll end up like that air box is right there, poking up through that diagonal frame rail. It should fit right inside this area here, so you know where it has to go. So once that upper battery is in place, you have to fabricate 2 mounts. These are the ones that I can't design because I don't know how it's going to fall. So what you're going to have to do, here's a little drawing of that I did of the frame. So you'll have the 2 frame rails that come out like this. This is just a side view. So there's the frame rails. And then you got the battery. Here's one section of batteries. That's 3 deep. And then on the top you got a second set of batteries that would come up like this. So there's that. So this is just rough, but you'll have the top of the tray here. You'll have to make a mount that comes from that tray down to this point, and then another mount that comes down to this point. These don't have to be laterally strong, they just have to be vertically strong. So this one, just flat bar, welded on with a hole, tie into that little V-brace. I'll show you where you can tie it into. If we look back at the picture of the side of the motorcycle. So it's right here, this intersection point, but I also got a better picture. So right here, this point would be a good place to tie that into. This will all be inside the frame here. They'll come down over to it. So here's one tie point, here's the other tie point. That'll give it a lot of added strength. Once you get the batteries in place, you can measure the frame rails, draw a line right at the front of the batteries here, draw a line, and cut the remaining off. So that way it's got full span across it. And then if you have room, I'd recommend taking some extra material, welding it, cutting an angle on it, welding it onto this lower battery tray here, and coming angled upwards, connecting into even just this small radiator mount here would just add strength to it. Just to have a diagonal that looks, it would look something like that down to the battery tray. So I'll draw it on the paper here. So you got the one mount going up to the big hole right here, and then the little one here. This one I think is going to be of most concern. I think that one's going to line up the best. So then you can do another mount. You got that little radiator bracket somewhere in this area, like that. You could do another one like this, something like that, and that'll just give it a little more strength. So then the motor will fit in this area. You should measure that and see if the motor can fit in there. The motor is about 6 inches in diameter. I think it will just barely make it. That's not to worry about. I'm gonna build that mount for some special adjustment, mill some pieces of it. So very simple, but very hard to do without the right machinery. Other than that, I still haven't been able to come up with a good kickstand design. So we'll have to keep working on that. That can be something that I'll just bolt on later on. Not sure. I'm kind of thinking maybe 2 factory kickstands and redesign them so that you kick one out on each side, and that'll give it a way to keep from toppling over. I can't think of anything else. I think that covers everything. So all you have to worry about, really, make sure you get those gussets welded in there. Those are really important. Without that, the trays won't stay together. Get the little tubes welded on to put the threaded rods through, because those clamp the upper tray to the lower tray. And with this lower tray, this tray right here, on the lower pack and the upper pack being one piece, it concentrates all the weight through the threaded rails, through this tray, middle tray, up to the upper tray, and then from the upper tray into these mounting points. So it's really important that you get good welds on those gussets and on the tubes. And then, like I said, if you can add this in here, it'll concentrate, it'll take a lot of weight off of this whole system here and pull the weight up to here. Even being just a little bolt, it'll make a world of difference. Yeah, I think that's about it. One other quick note is, I'll just sketch this out. So the frame looks something like this. That's rough, but if you're looking at from the top, so this is where the tank would be usually, you'll have the 2 batteries inside here, like that. There's 1 and 2, and then you keep looking, you have the second set of batteries underneath it like this. So that looks something like that. So there's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So make sure you get these centered in the frame, as close as you possibly can. You want those to be perfect. So once you get those lower ones perfect, the upper ones will follow. When you weld it all together with the gussets, you have the upper 3 battery frame, and then the lower 2 battery frame, just line them up so that they got the same distance on this side. Okay, that side, number 1, is the same as number 2 over here. So, right like that. That distance is equal to that distance. Okay, so that'll get it nice and balanced back and forth. Other than that, I don't think there's anything that can't be done with a handsaw and some nuts and bolts. So I think we'll be good. Alright, talk to you later.